Okay, hi everyone. This video I'll just be talking about a method that I sort of came up with to help with my tracing for 3x3 blindfolded during the memo stage. So to start off, does this happen often to you guys? So is that everything is solved except for, an edge flip, or like perhaps this one, and the edge flip is all the way at the back, because like this is my buffer piece, so during the tracing I don't see this being flipped. But it's only this, but sometimes you might forget about it because it's at the back, or like maybe this one where it's twisted. So one way to get around this problem is to use your finger to track which pieces have already been traced. But I call this the finger yoga method. It sort of like blocks my view. I used to do it, so it's like I block all the edges like that, so it's just only I have like 10 fingers and 11 edges to trace, right? So it's only one edge that I can't trace with my finger, so I have like a fixed fingering. So if you're doing the finger yoga method, I recommend you to have a fixed fingering for each like piece. So this would be my fingering for the edges, and this is the fingering for the corners. This is my buffer piece lah. But I haven't been doing the finger yoga method for quite a while already. But instead I came up with this other method which allows you to freely like look around the whole cube without your fingers getting in the way. So how I came about this idea was that because there are some formulas to like derive the number of cycles you should have. For example, if you have no corner solved at all, or no corner twist at all, you're supposed to have an even number of cycles, or otherwise you would have parity, so basically odd number of letters in your memo for corners. But if you have like maybe let's say one solved corner or like one twisted corner, you're supposed to have an odd number of cycle, otherwise you would have parity. So with this idea, I came up with this idea to trace like whether am I supposed to have a new cycle, or am I missing something that I haven't traced before. So I just teach this with an example. So the scramble is shown on the screen, you can just follow. Okay, so the cube is here, so I'm white top green front, very standard. I start off with my left middle finger not touching the cube, and to me this is called the bad position. I will explain later on. And when my left middle finger is touching the cube, it's called a good position. So I will start because I do CEEC, so I memorize corners first, and I'll just start my memorization with corners. So what the bad position means is that you're supposed to have parity, so odd number of letters in your memo. And the good position means, so when touching the cube, it means that you have no parity. So as the name suggests, no parity is a good case. So you're supposed to have an even number of letters in your memo. So how I start off is I have my middle finger at the bad position, so I don't touch the cube, and I start tracing. So the middle finger has to change position, so either from bad position to good position, or good position to bad position whenever. Three scenarios. You get a new cycle, so you start a new cycle, or there is a solved corner, or there's a twisted corner. So whenever you come across these cases, you just swap the position of the middle finger, and just take note that it's for each solved corner or twisted corner. So if there are two solved corner, you can just do like change 2 times. So it's equivalent to not changing at all. So I think a lot of actually blinders might be using this method just unknowingly by doing it in their head. So I'm just doing it with my finger to make it a lot easier. So I'm gonna start tracing. For me, I use this method works for any method, even if you're using OPOP or like M2OP. I'm using M2 horoscope. So my buffer piece is at C position, so I'm gonna start tracing. It goes to R. I haven't started a new cycle, so I'm not gonna change the position of my middle finger. So it goes to R, which goes to U. For me it's a ruler, and then you realize that it's my buffer piece. It goes to R. Yeah, it's my buffer piece. It's the UFR piece. So I have finished my cycle, and I need to start a new one. So usually I start with B because it's easier. So I start with B, and you see that I start a new cycle. I'm gonna change the position of my middle finger. Now it's a good position. So B, which goes to I, BI for B is bicycle, and which goes to V, which goes to H, So VH is vehicle for me, and then which goes back to W, and then this goes back to N. So VH, WN. So for me, WN is wine, so like wine. So I've finished tracing because with experience you would know that this piece has already been traced. It will come with practice because I started my new cycle with B just now. I mean, some people use the finger to mark there. I don't. So just now it was a ruler and then bicycle and then vehicle, ruler, bicycle, vehicle, and then wine glass. So something like that. And you will realize that I know that I've finished tracing every corners. First is because there are only 8 corners, so it's not really that hard to know which corners have been traced and which hasn't. But this method actually allows me to confirm that because my middle finger is on good position, and currently all my letters have their corresponding letter pairs, which means I have an even number of letters in my memo, which means I have no parity, which is a good case, which is evident by my middle finger here. So in the event if there's a case where your middle finger is on a bad position, but you have an even number of letters in your memo, it means that you're probably missing something, like you're missing a corner, or you have traced wrongly somewhere. Similarly, if your middle finger is on a good position and you have an odd number of letters in your memo, it probably means you have missed something or you have traced wrongly somewhere. And the same idea can work for the edges as well. But for edges, because I know that I do not have parity already, I will just trace the edges normally with the B and C, the white, red and white, green not swapped. And if from the corners I already know that there's parity, I will intentionally swap these 2 pieces, like the white, red and the white, green in my tracing. So with that, you're supposed to always end off with an even number of edges. Meaning your middle finger should always be at good position, shouldn't be at bad position. So let me just show you the example. So once again, your middle finger should be at bad positions first, so not touching the cube. And I'm going to start tracing. Because I use M2 for edges, this is my buffer, the U position. This goes to H, which goes to G, which goes to C, which goes E, D, H, G, C, E, D, J, and then I'm at the buffer piece, so it means I need to start a new cycle, and I'll usually start at A if A is not traced yet. So you see, I start a new cycle, so I need to change the position of my middle finger. Currently, I only have an even number of letters in my memo. So now A, at the same time, I'll just change the position of my middle finger, which goes V, and then back to U. And here I see that there is a solved edge. And with that, I will change the position of my middle finger also, because I will have to change the position of my middle finger whenever I start a new cycle, there's a solved edge or there's a flipped edge. So I change, and it makes sense because currently it was like AVU, right, which is odd number, and this means I need to start a new cycle again, which is I haven't traced these 2 pieces. It takes some practice to know, like estimate where are the pieces, or like estimate which one you haven't traced yet. But I know I haven't finished tracing because I only have a number of letters. That's one thing. Second thing is my middle finger is telling me I'm at a bad position, means I definitely need to trace more pieces. So I go W and then F on number and then back to W. So that makes it even number of edges. And because I started a new cycle with W, I need to remember to change the position of my middle finger, which went from bad to good again. So with that, I have finished tracing my edges. So this helps not necessarily in tracing, but more of whether you're missing any edge flips or not. In the case where you finish your memo and you have an even number of letters in your memo, however your middle finger is at the bad position, it probably suggest that you probably have a solved edge or a flipped edge somewhere that you haven't seen. So maybe, for example, if I haven't seen this, I will end up with an even number of letters in my memo, but with my middle finger like not touching the cube, which tells me I have like some piece not traced lah. Then I will see this, oh, this edge is solved. That's why I will just change the position of my middle finger, which tells me it's a good case. Okay, so this is another example solved with the scramble on the screen. And let's just start tracing. First, I see that my buffer piece is already at my buffer position. So I'll need to start a new cycle. I'll choose B. And with that, I'll change the position of my middle finger from bad to good, which goes to W, which goes to E. And at this point, I actually realized that this is a solved corner. So I change the position of my middle finger from good to bad. And then which goes to X, which goes to Q, and then I see this twisted corner, so I need to change the position of my middle finger. And right now I actually have odd number of letters memorized, but then my finger is at good position, which indicates that I'm supposed to have an even number of letters memorized. So I'm definitely missing something. It's this one here. This is a twisted corner, which causes me to swap my middle finger from the good position to bad position again. So then it makes sense now because I have an odd number of letters in my memory, and now my middle finger is at bad position. So now for edge tracing, since I have parity, I will be tracing such that the white red and the white green are swapped. So right now this is technically solved already. So I'll change the position of my middle finger even before I start tracing from bad to good, and I'll continue tracing now. This is my buffer, which goes to O, which goes to L. It's my buffer piece, so I need to start a new cycle. So usually I pick A, then I realize that it's soft, so I need to change the position of my middle finger because it's soft. And then I need to choose another piece for starting the new cycle. I'll choose W, and because I'm starting a new cycle, choose W, I need to change the position of my middle finger again, which goes to X, which goes to N, which goes to B, L, D, H, W. If I have even number of letters, then that means that I probably have traced everything because my middle finger agrees with that. And let me just check. Yeah, I do have an even number of letters. So with that, I hope this video helped you all in the tracing. And I truly believe that this method is better than doing a lot of finger yoga because it really blocks your view, and you are gonna trace a lot slower with your fingers just blocking your view. Thank you.